Mohammed Sibreza. I hope all of you guys are doing good. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be discussing about the scholarship opportunities for jobs and masters in Finland. And for this purpose, I have with me Mr. Syed Tanvir Kazmi, all the way from Finland. He's just graduated from UET Taxila as an electrical engineer back in 2016. So, sir, thank you so much, first of all, for having your time.
Assalamu alaikum, Haseeb. First of all, thanks a lot for having me over in your video. I have been out of touch from the general social scene of UET for a long time. I used to be quite social in UET. I was the founding chairman of IEEE back in the days. But these days, I'm completely off everything. So it's a pleasure to be here on your video. Thanks a lot for having me over again. As long as our chat goes, I would try to talk as much as I could for scholarships and employment, like jobs outside Pakistan, in European Union, in USA, in Canada. Like wherever you go, things are pretty generic in my opinion. You need to meet a certain set of conditions, you need to meet a certain set of documentation requirements. Things are pretty generic. So if you make up your mindset, it's just about the mindset, I would say. So let's do this.
All right. So I will be asking questions one by one. So the first question here is that what kind of qualities an individual need to get selected for the scholarship abroad in Finland?
So your question about personal qualities that you need to have to win a scholarship. Well, it totally depends where the scholarship is based. For example, if it's in the US, I would say you need to have pretty different set of qualities. If it's in the EU, it's a bit different. And if it's in China, South Korea, things can get really, very different. So if I try to make it as generic as possible, first of all, you should have a certain amount of excellence in your academics. And the reason why I'm saying this is the fact that if a university or a scholarship program invests its money in you as a scholarship, you really need to have something to show that you really deserve that scholarship. So first of all, you should have certain academic excellence. I would say that if you have a CGPA of 3.0 and above, you have a good chance. Other than the CGPA, you should have a sort of a personal brand, I would say. That you should have certain, like a hobby that sets you apart. You should have some extracurriculars in your package or in your profile. I mean, you should be somebody outside the studies, I would say. So, for example, I would give you a quick example that you're a student with 3.5 CGPA and you apply for a scholarship, and then you are neck to neck in a competition with somebody who might have 3.4, lesser than you. But that person has read probably, 30 books in the last year, has been part of some student society in the university, has did some great job in some student declamation contests. I would, as a reviewer, I would give that person more edge. I would try to give the scholarship to that person because as an individual of the society, that person is way more wholesome or complete compared to somebody who might have 3.9 GPA, but they don't know anything outside their studies. So I would say that it's more about a complete personal brand, and it becomes more and more intensified when the competition is strong. I'm not disregarding like many scholarships would still prefer a person with the highest CGPA, but things are changing. So I would say that people who have high CGPA, they have a higher chance of getting scholarship. But people who have a lesser CGPA, they shouldn't worry about that. They should make an overall personal brand and really compensate for the qualities, really compensate for the CGPA in terms of the other qualities in their personal brand.
The next question is why an individual should be applying for masters and job abroad. What are the advantages? What are the perks he or she will receive after being selected as a master student or getting the job in Finland?
The simplest answer is that life is short, and if you spend your whole life in one country, I don't think you have done justice to your life. I don't think that you have done justice to the years that you got in your life. Secondly, when you go outside your comfort zone, you move to a different country, you live there, you learn the culture there, you learn a bit of language there, you meet people from, I don't know, tens of different nationalities. All of your like mental biases and your mental and mental structures that you have built around different notions and ideas, I think they get deconstructed, and you get a new meaning of life. You get a new view at life. You look at things in a very different way. You look at things in a global perspective. You try to understand politics. You try to understand personal choices. You try to understand like why people behave in the way they behave. So you have a bigger perspective at life. So it's not just about the studies, what you get out of the masters. You get a lot of other things. So I would say that if you want to get all those things, going abroad and like studying a master's degree is the easiest way. The reason for that is that these days it's very hard to get a work visa in European Union or in the US. Of course, it's not impossible, but it's very hard. But the easiest way to go outside Pakistan and experience a new life and learn new things is going there as a student, both US and the EU, or maybe in South Korea or in China as well. So the easiest way is to go as a student. So the question is, why go out there to learn new things, to experience new things in life, and of course get some education as well. So as a young person, I would say that prioritize learning new things, new cultures, new practices, how things are done outside Pakistan, how the developed nations do new things, how do they like invest in their people, how do they like invest in education, how do they do the things they do in health sector. So you can learn a lot of things by just observing, by just being in a society. So it's not just about the education. Of course you would get a very good education wherever you go, but I think there are a lot of other things you will get apart from the education.
The next question is that what kind of questions are asked during an interview while applying for jobs or masters in Finland?
It's I would say that most interviews are pretty generic. They would ask you about your background. Of course, you would have already submitted them your CV, your letters of recommendation, your statement of purpose, but they would like to hear it from you. So I would say that whatever they ask, don't like repeat whatever you have already told them. Give them something that they have not seen already in your documents. So definitely they would ask you about your your academic profile. They would ask you about your personal hobbies. They would ask you about your aspirations, inspirations. Then obviously some questions about the field you're applying in, some specialized questions, like let's say if you're an electrical engineer, they would ask you some not so like common questions from the electrical engineering. They would be interesting questions, but maybe a bit different, a bit odd maybe in some ways. So mind twisters, so to say. So the questions might be a bit different. So again, coming back to the original points, questions about your personal profile, your academic profile, your hobbies, what you do in your spare time, what skills you have. For example, maybe some softwares you might know about designing something in your field. Then of course it comes to your future aspirations, what you want to do in your life in future, 10 years from now or 5 years from now, or where do you see yourself in the long-term career. So the questions could be very different. So I would say that it's not a very straightforward answer, but overall study the like the master's program, the information about that master's or PhD program well enough in advance, so that if they ask you some questions about that, you should also be able to answer that.
Next question is the most important question, that how an individual can stay connected for upcoming jobs and master's opportunities in Finland.
I would say first of all, exploit your online resources. There are some pretty good Facebook groups. goes without saying, join Scholarship Network on Facebook. It's probably the biggest Facebook group on like scholarships abroad. I also contribute quite a lot of information in terms of comments and forum posts there. So join that group, and I would say that like there is some, I think, a website called mastersportal.com. You can also check various scholarships and master's programs there. For Germany, you can check daad.de. There are a wealth of resources. I would try to put some links in the comments section of this video as well. So Facebook is probably the easiest way to check. I wouldn't say google.com because that's not a very good answer, to be honest.
Well, the next question is a bit interesting one, that how did you survive COVID-19 in Finland?
Well, Finland is a small country. There's not quite a big population around here, so it's a sparsely populated region. So from February, March and April, I worked from home. From May onwards, I started going to my lab and the office. So we had some people there, but people had quite a lot of distance between the tables, between their workstations. So it was not difficult to work from office as well. So I mean, Finland had quite a good response to the COVID-19 pandemic. It wasn't very difficult, but it wasn't easy either, because at times things can get very lonely and I would say that sad, because people are trying to have the social distancing, so you might not be able to meet friends. So, but yeah, alhamdulillah, it was not difficult.
What kind of job opportunities are available in Finland if one wants to apply for work visa in Finland?
First of all, I would address the work visa. It's if you have a job offer from a Finnish company, it's pretty straightforward. You apply for the work permit through the Finnish embassy in Abu Dhabi. There is no Finnish embassy in Pakistan, so you have to go to Abu Dhabi for applying the work permit. But for that, you need a job offer first from a Finnish company. And how to get the job offer? Obviously, you have to apply to some Finnish companies. You can look for jobs on LinkedIn, and you can find some on LinkedIn. You can find some Finnish companies and try to see how they hire, what are their hiring practices. I would say that it's not very straightforward, not the easiest way to get a job in Finland, but that's probably the best way to do it. Secondly, Finland, like most Finnish companies, they prefer to have Finnish language as a skill to get a job in those companies. So I would say that it's not impossible. People have come in past from Pakistan directly on a job visa in a Finnish company. But yes, definitely try your luck. Not the easiest route, but yes, worth trying.
Well, the next question is, how is the lifestyle in Finland? The living style, the food, how is it?
Well, lifestyle in Finland it's pretty simple. People like to lifestyle or quality of life is quite high, but people live very simply. They would go to the work, of course, but they always have some sort of hobby in the evening. They would either go to the gym, read a book, go to libraries. A lot of people go to libraries around here. This is a very good trend around here, that people haven't abandoned the public libraries around here. It's a very good trend around here. And then a lot of my friends, they go to rock climbing. Some of my friends, they do a lot of e-gaming. There's a huge trend of e-gaming around here. Many of the people who have been into e-gaming, and if they have played Max Payne, a very famous game, it was made by one Finnish company. And similarly, Angry Birds, it was made by a Finnish company. Clash of the Clans, that was also made by a Finnish company. So e-gaming is a pretty good trend around here. So other than that, people are very simple around here, very humble. They don't brag a lot, and people are very simple in their way of living. So I think most people, wherever they are from in this world, when they come to Finland, they really enjoy how things are around here generally. And if people have more questions, I would really, you can tag me. You're already, like my friend on Facebook, so you can tag me in the comments of this video. So I would be happy to answer. So thanks a lot for having me over. Allah Hafiz.